Lesson 2 of Excel, Functions and Formulas. The objectives today. Determine the correct formula and function to use in a given scenario. Use cell references rather than type numbers into formulas. Use of parentheses to determine order of calculation. Create simple arithmetic formulas in a spreadsheet. Add, subtract, multiply, and divide. Use common functions in the spreadsheet like sum, average, and round. So that's what we'll do today. We're going to be doing formulas and functions and also being aware of using parentheses to determine the order of calculation. Use cell references rather than just numbers. So let's take a look. So formulas, what is a formula? Well, first of all, it's a calculation, okay? It's something you want to calculate. You're adding something together. You're combining two numbers. You're trying to work out something. Most commonly uses numerical data. Okay, what that means is that you will use numbers in a cell to work out the particular function. Okay, um, data can be new numbers or existing values. What that means is that you can just type in random numbers on the fly, or you can just type in, or you can use existing values that already exist on that spreadsheet. Excel performs better calculations and displays the result in the cell. Okay, so Excel performs calculation and displays result in the cell. Results update automatically if cell references change. Okay, and that's very important to know. What happens when a cell reference change? And I'll explain. So here we have a very simple spreadsheet, the fruit store. It's got all the fruits in there you can think of, oranges, apples, and pears. What we're going to do is create a simple formula. We're going to start this off with an equals sign, and I'm just going to add these two numbers here, £45 and £34. We want to see what the total is. So we start off with an equal sign, and I can just click into that cell, B3. Okay, there you have it. And then I'm going to add it together with the add sign and click on C3. And there you have it. That's a very simple formula. Equals B3 plus C3 is adding up what's in the cells. That B3 is a cell reference. Okay, that just means it's the identification and the location of where that data is. All right, if I just press enter, it gives me the result of £79. So talking about our objectives, use cell references rather than numbers. If you look at this cell, we've used cell references B3 plus C3, and that gives us the right answer no matter what. Because if £45 was to change, say, to 65, the answer will be updated to £99. So if you work in a company where you have someone always updating a spreadsheet, it's important to use cell references rather than numbers. Because if we had done this, if we just did equals 65 plus 34, enter, that will give us the correct answer. But if one of the values change, say £65 changes to 32, your formula does not change to reflect the actual calculation. Okay, so that's why we use cell references rather than numbers. And I hope that helps. Okay, so let's carry on. Entering a formula. So we saw basically what I did to create that formula, but let's have a little deeper look at what really happened. All formulas start with an equal sign. When I did that formula, you can see that I put in an equal sign just at the beginning. Okay, we use numbers and cell references, and we just saw that it's best practice to use cell references rather than a number. Um, and of course, we use arithmetic operators. Okay, these are the operators that generally you will be using in Excel. You've got addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, and parentheses, or just those brackets you get when you want to work out a certain section first. Okay, so what we'll do next is have a look at these operators here and how do we get them. Okay, so here we have a keyboard, all right, and what you've got to bear in mind is that holding down the shift key selects the upper character on all the keys. So if we look here at number 8, the only way we can get the upper symbol is to hold down the shift key. So if you wanted to multiply, you have to hold down shift and the 8 to get the multiplication symbol. If you wanted to divide, you have to just hit the / button. If you had to do a minus in your calculation, you just hit the minus button. Notice there's no shift required for divide and minus because the symbols we need are on the lower end of it. If you want to add, you have to hold down the shift and the add button together. And that is the basic keys. Not forgetting that the equal sign, which we use to begin the formula with, is right there on your keyboard. So don't forget that. That's always going to be useful. Know your keyboard. And of course, this is not an extended keyboard. Some laptops have the extended type where you can just hit the num-lock button and you might find it easier using the number pad on your keyboard. One other thing we need to know of as well is the order of calculations. And I don't know if you remember this at school or college, something called BODMAS. And that basically means Excel works out your calculations in a particular order. Okay, and this is used generally in equations. You know, scientists use this in any sort of equation or a formula. They operate by these rules, and what it means is that BODMAS starts off with brackets. Excel works out the brackets in a formula first of all, followed by orders, then division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. Okay, if you want, you can just Google this, and you can always find the what each one does specifically if you want to do more research. But certainly for level 1, we will just be focusing on the bracket side of it. Any formula that has a brackets in that formula, any data inside will get worked out first. Whatever's in the brackets gets worked out first. So what is the order of calculation here? What is going on? What part should you calculate first? Okay, well, looking at BODMAS, we can see that we need to work out the brackets. Whatever is in those brackets gets worked out first. So 5 plus 3 gets worked out first, and that means the answer is 48. If you ended up with 33, it would be wrong because 5 plus 3 is 8 times 6 is 48. But if you did 6 times 5, you're ignoring the brackets, and that is incorrect. So when you're working out formulas, you just need to be mindful of that. Okay, so let's take a look at these formulas here. Just looking at these formulas, well, this data here, we have a little data here. We have some numbers in these cells. So we have 10 in A1, 5 in B1, 0.5 in A2, 2 in B2, okay? So to get the result of 50, the formula needed would have been equals A1 multiplied by B1, okay? So A1 times B1 is 50 because 10 times 5 is 50. How about 5? A1 divided by A2 will give us 5. So 10 divided by 2 will give us 5. What about 7? How do we get 7? What formula is required to give us 7? Equals B1, which is 5, plus B2 gives us 7. 70, this is a tricky one. We might need to use brackets in this one, parentheses, use some BODMAS. As you can see, we had to put B1 plus B2 into brackets. Okay, we had to work out B1 and B2. We had to work out that so that it gives us 7. So that when Excel works that out, we can multiply it by the 10, and that's how we got the 70. And finally, 3, A1, which is 10, minus 5 will give us 5, and minus B2, which is 2, gives us 3. So that's just an idea of what is happening with your formulas, and hopefully that would help with your calculations. Okay, so let's have a little game. Let's play a little game here. Um, okay, so let's do a test. If we wanted to add 7 and 4 together, okay, what would be the formula? Okay, so we know we have to start this off with an equal sign. So we put that there. And 7, the one we want is A2, okay, because that 7 is in the A2. So we put that one next. And we want to do the add, so we click on plus. Just bear in mind that you would be holding down the shift and 8 for that one. And finally, we need the 4, which is B2. And to finish that formula, simply click on to enter. Okay? So give that a go. Try to create some formulas, and thanks for watching. Just ask yourself, are you red? I do not understand how to use formulas. Are you amber? I can use formulas, but I need more practice. Or are you green? I can confidently use formulas.